All right. Thanks, everybody. I am just getting ready now. Had a few last minute fun things coming up about illegal cannabis stuff.
Yeah.
That needed attention, but now I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. So if my notes are right, we had our first meeting and haven't started going through our survey yet, right? It's second community survey. Okay. Jessica, you have 2 tiles. All right. Cool.
Can I check? Was there? Did I already? This one is billed as virtual meeting number 2. Was there a virtual meeting number 1?
Yep. There was. Hold on. I have a bunch of notes.
Canceled.
Wait, why do I have a bunch of notes? Hold on a second.
Mireille, I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of one of my tiles. I don't know what's going on.
Well, there was a meeting that was canceled that I think.
So, yeah, technically, yeah. So we did have sort of a chat about the survey, that it was hard, it was overwhelming and hard to figure out. It was more actually kind of talking about what we need to bring to help everybody move forward on commentary and stuff. But I do not see any input on the second survey itself.
Right. And
am I missing something? Jessica, fill me in. Chris?
We were supposed to have a virtual meeting. Actually, it was while I was away, so I was glad to hear that it was canceled and postponed. And then we were going to hear about a reschedule of that and never heard. Exactly. So this now, I believe, is our first virtual meeting.
And this is the first time.
And then we've got, also we were supposed to, thank you. I had a little back and forth with Ruby last week about our in-person meeting. And she was going to get back to us on Monday about confirming the 4th at the Little Red for that. So, so as far as I know, this is our first virtual meeting. But you're right. I know we did have some conversations, but not a formal meeting of the LAPAC up till now.
Yeah, it was sort of a kickoff meeting, more than a full content meeting.
What is meeting guests? See that one tile that's got all of us? Like, it looks like the Muppet Show.
Yeah, that's how it arranges you, and it's like a Hollywood Squares kind of over there.
Yeah, what the heck is that?
It's just, that's a Teams function.
Yeah, and I got my 2 tiles figured out, so I am not hearing an echo chamber, and there's only one of me right now, so far.
Okay. This, and the reading AI meeting notes doesn't show up with every Teams meeting, but sometimes it does, but I haven't figured out what the point of it is. So, all right. Well, that's just weird. Okay. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Hollywood Squares, that's right.
So let's do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started.
Yeah.
In all the LAPACs, I think this is my last LAPAC where we're going through the second survey. And as we go through the second survey, I kind of point out some things that are of interest to me, or that I see that have spanned all the different planning areas. But what I'm really looking for, let me close my email, that's distracting, is your input. So when I forget to say, do you guys have any input on that one? I want you to just know that I'm asking. I want it. And because the point is, what we're going to convey to the core team as we start working on actually drafting these updates, the updated plans, is to make sure that we're capturing everything, and that if there's anything the LAPAC has concerns with that came out of the survey, or anything that we think was missed, or anything that is of particular interest that needs to be highlighted, that's what I'm looking for from you guys regarding the second survey. after we're done with the second survey, our next deliverable that we'll work on in virtual meetings will be the going through the existing local area plan, paying attention to the existing priorities, objectives, and implementation projects to see if we still consider those valid, or if they're now obsolete, or maybe they need to be updated in some, amended in some way. That's going to be our next virtual meeting task. Our in-person meeting, and I don't know, let's see, do we have where are we, Cobb? We have an in-person on Thursday, November 14th from 5 to 6:30 at the Little Red Schoolhouse. The point of that meeting is to go over 3 different topics. One is I'll bring you the information that we got regarding the planning area boundary amendments from our 2 in-person all LAPAC meetings that we had like a week or 2 ago. I've got all the Post-it notes on the maps and stuff, and I did make the big maps, Elliot, the one that we wanted to stick into a local place. So it would be ideal if I could get that to you before the 14th, because that's kind of at the end of LAPAC season. And so we can put that someplace for continual input, but I will bring that data of any suggestions for, hold on, Mike, I'll get right to you as soon as I finish my sentence. I'll bring that. And so we're going to talk about, as a Cobb Mountain LAPAC, we're going to talk about planning boundary area amendments. We'll also talk about community growth boundary amendments. And I am in the process of making kind of zoomed in maps, because if you remember the big maps, all of it's the whole planning area. And so the towns and communities are kind of teeny tiny. So I'm working on maps of community growth boundaries, land use designations, and public and private water districts, so that we can see where those are. And so we'll talk about community growth boundary amendments and land use designation amendments at the in-person meeting. And
can I interrupt for just a second?
well, just so you know, Mike had his hand up, Elliot.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, there you go. Hi, Mike. Sorry.
Simple question. I missed what date you were saying. What was the date of that?
November 14th. It's a Thursday.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Elliot.
When you say that 11/14 is the end of LAPAC season,
It's toward the end of LAPAC season. Yeah.
I'm hoping that's not going to be that we only have 2 weeks process between now and the end of our deliberation, because as I know Chris wrote on October 14th, and we've kind of said all along that I think that it's not going to be enough time for us to really be able to weigh in and digest and really come to evaluate even the survey or the do what we need to do in the next 2 weeks.
Then what I suggest we do before this meeting ends today, because I absolutely hear what you're saying, and I agree, it's a lot of subject matter and a lot of thinking and discussion that could be needed, is we need to schedule additional meetings, because due to our grant deadlines and we have a very strict timeline for this project. And so LAPAC season, in my own little head, is through that teens week of November. So yeah, it is that Friday, the November 15th is our last day to get recommendations.
Have to schedule them before then?
Yeah, in fact, while we're thinking about it, let me share my screen. Hold on. So you can all see what I'm seeing.
It's very frustrating because up to this point, we've been kind of marking time here, trying to get meetings up to this point. And we can.
I share your frustrations. I've been sending out doodle polls and asking people to respond to them so I can set meetings. So we're all just having a group frustrated moment right now. But you can see my screen.
Because
where we have.
I set aside, I think, a dozen different times to say, okay, I'm available for this, and basically held them for weeks. and didn't schedule anything else and never heard back about when we could have it. And then I
Cool.
get back, and then we say, okay, now we've got this meeting, our first virtual meeting. It's not number 2, it's number 1, that the first one never got rescheduled. And now you're telling us we only have 2 weeks to finish this up? It's not acceptable, Maria. We need to have more time to do this. And I'm sorry, believe me, I understand you've got 8 groups like this to try and juggle. But we are not going to be able to do it within 2 weeks. And, if you need to have us do the scheduling for it and just let us kind of set our own times for it and give us the opportunity to tell you when we need you to be there, then so be it. But, I think frankly, even I know this is going to push us out, but, I think even a month, particularly given the holiday season that we're in now, is going to be and particularly when we talk about trying to review our last area plan, which, as you know, was done in 1989. We are really creating. This is not going to be the kind of update that Middletown is doing. And I apologize for ranting like this, but you got to feel it. I know it's not just me.
Well, before we throw our hands up in despair, let's see what we can do right now.
Good.
And given the time that we have, let's see what we do get done. So when we get to the end of LAPAC season, if we have been meeting diligently and applying ourselves and we still have some last details or issues that we need to talk about, then let's figure that out then. But between now and then, let's do the best we can.
I can't accept it, Maria. I think that
that's the best I can give you right now, Elliot.
14th.
That's the best I can give you right now.
Well,
our deadlines are the way they are because of the grants that we have.
But we have been asking for meetings for the last month, and we have not had them scheduled. That's not our problem. I'm sorry, but go
ahead and write a letter, Elliot. Let's capture this in the record so that your concerns are duly noted. And until then, let's set that aside because we have an agenda today, and I'd like us to get started.
We were promised an agenda on Friday. I still haven't seen it for today. Where's the agenda for today?
We're going to start talking about the second community survey. And then we'll move on from there after we're done with that one.
And what's the rest of the agenda? You said.
I think that's probably going to take us most of this meeting, especially if we're going to take our time on this topic and not actually get started.
I'll just, again, for the record of this, our virtual thing, I was in correspondence with Ruby on Friday, and she said, I will send you a confirmation of your next meeting on Monday. I haven't heard anything from her yet this week. And that's kind of characteristic of how this scheduling process has gone.
Duly noted. So I have shared the screen this is LAPAC. This is the LAPAC setting of meetings. And I have doubled up with my calendar that I can see. But Cobb Mountain LAPAC is that first line. So these are the days that pretty much I've penciled out and kicked everything else that I'm doing off. Let's talk about scheduling a few other virtual meetings while we're all kind of thinking about this. And then we can kind of set this aside and get started on our second survey.
Okay.
Tomorrow's tough just because everybody's thinking about Halloween. Let's see. Next week. Well, actually, the end of this week, Friday on the 1st. I can move that around. I could actually move both of my morning appointments. I do have availability in the morning, 8 to 1 on Friday. Anybody want to have a virtual LAPAC meeting on Friday the 1st, sometime in the morning, say like 10 to 11:30, or anywhere as late as 11:30 to 1?
10 to 11. Actually, I have something at 11. There's a biomass meeting at 11. So before 11.
Oh, cool.
How about
8:30 to 11 or 8:30
to 11 works
10.
for me.
8:30 to 10 is I'm usually doing them in 90 minutes because after that we kind of
Yeah.
go down in productivity. So 90-minute session sometime on Friday morning. Does that work for people?
Did I hear
Works for me.
8:30 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
8:30 to 10 is fine.
Yep.
We'll make it work.
Jessica can't. Darlene, is morning on Friday open for you? Pamela?
Yes. Yes, that will work for me. It's Darlene.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Work
Mike,
for me.
are you
Yep.
available Friday? Okay, 8:30 to 10
Yep.
on Friday. Excellent. Let's get that in there right now.
Chris, can you make it?
I can make it.
Good.
Yes.
I offered Saturdays and Sundays. Anybody want to meet on Saturday?
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. I'll see you. Well, Saturday.
You're the only one so far who said yes in any of the planning areas. Elliot, everybody else wants to keep their weekends. So there's
I'm
no
open
shame.
Saturday.
I'll tell you, it's a major religious celebration on Sunday, but Saturday I could do the morning.
I can do
I'm open
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah, I
Good.
can also-
Okay, Jessica.
I can also do Saturday afternoon.
Wait, Friday
Um,
doesn't work for Pamela. Okay, so let's switch to Saturday then for everybody.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're getting
Thank
more
you.
LAPAC members on Saturdays. All right. Saturday, I am willing to give you no earlier than 10. I like to wake up without an
Agree.
alarm on Saturday.
Yeah, afternoon is better for me as well.
Afternoon better? Okay, let me see what.
Yes.
Oh, crap. You know what? Afternoon's better. I'm helping Denise Rushing harvest walnuts starting at 10. So afternoon is better on Saturday. Should we say like 4? Or is that too late?
I think it's too
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
Actually.
3? I want to give her at least 4 hours of good walnut work out of me before I leave her.
I can do
3 work? Okay.
3 o'clock.
3 to
Okay.
4:30 on Saturday.
Works here.
Saturday.
PM.
PM, 3.
Virtual. Okay, good. That's a good one.
3
The
to
week
4.
after that. All right, let me pull up my calendar to see what I've filled in so far then. Monday morning, I've got 9:30 to 11.
LAPAC.
Any yays or nays for Monday morning?
Getting there. Just a second. That is the 4th.
I cannot do,
No?
nope.
I'd actually kind of like to give you guys at least a day or two off in between because sometimes thinking takes a little bit of time.
How about Tuesday, election day?
I think I have board meeting that day.
Yeah, board.
And if I don't
Wednesday?
show up for board meetings, then they talk about me and they volunteer me for stuff. So let's not do Tuesday. And then I've got an evening in person in Lower Lake, so I can't do Tuesday. How about Wednesday?
Wednesday, anytime.
I've got Wednesday until 11 a.m. and then after 2.
Wednesday, I have a Lakeport LAPAC at 10. So I could do 8:30. I could do 8 to 9:30 because I usually like to get on early at the next LAPAC. So 8 to 9:30, or then I've got a shoreline virtual from 1 to 2:30, an evening virtual from Upper Lake. So I've got 3 to 4:30
That
on
would be
Wednesday.
perfect.
Does that
That'd be
work?
perfect for me.
Jessica, I know you had trouble some days,
I'll be
weekdays.
I'll be flying on Wednesday. I won't be available, but you don't have to have me there if that's an issue. I'll be
Okay.
on travel from Wednesday the 6th to the 11th,
Okay. That's
but
good
I
to
could
know.
be reachable on the 8th or 9th. I could still maybe get access to Zoom.
All right, cool. Let's talk about the 6th, and then we'll also talk about 8th or 9th. 6th from what did I say? 6th
3 to
from-
4:30.
Thank you. 6th from 3 to 4:30. How's that work for everybody?
That's
Chris
good.
is good. Pamela, 3 to 4:30. Darlene, 3 to 4:30 on Wednesday the 6th. Yes.
Works for me. And
right.
I'm just kind of sitting in. So whatever works for you guys.
Okay. And Jessica, is that good for you? 3 to 4:30 Wednesday?
I have a major project going on at my house, and I'm not sure what time I'm going to be able to get away. So I will do my best.
Okay. Then what was the next one? Mike, was it the 8th and 9th?
Yes, I could be available.
Let me take a look at this. I think
The other days are good, but yeah, I'm flying and driving on the 6th and 7th.
yeah. So if we have a meeting on Wednesday, then let's skip Thursday.
Okay.
Friday or Saturday. How's it look for you guys? Friday or Saturday? How's it look for me? Hold on, let me see Friday. I've got a
Friday.
Riviera's LAPAC at 9:30.
I'm going to be out of town on Saturday. Friday looks good for me.
Okay, Friday looks good. I've got LAPAC from 9:30 to 10 to 11, and then a Shoreline LAPAC 2:30 to 4. I could do something at like 11 to 12:30.
Works for me.
11 to 12:30 on Friday.
Friday.
That works for me too. 11 to 12:30.
11 to 12:30 virtual.
Great.
All
And
right.
that's the 8th.
That is
Yeah.
Friday the 8th.
That's the 6th.
Then you've got an in-person on Thursday the 14th. Let's take a look at that day and see if maybe we can meet before 5.
Good.
Oh, no problem. Okay, PC is going to be quick, so I should have most of that day. And then, why don't I have this on my calendar? Crap, oh, man. 5 to 6:30. Well, I do now. 5 to 6:30. Cobb, LAPAC in person. Okay, so let's see what I've got. I'm open. Show line. I could. I'm quadruple booked from 2 to 4. So let me see what I can get rid of. Let's get that. I can reschedule that. I can skip that. Okay, I can actually skip pretty much all of that stuff and give you, should we say starting at 2?
Okay.
Just lengthen out that in-person meeting, because if we're done, Pamela, we're talking about Thursday the 14th when we have an in-person meeting scheduled starting at 5. I'm just going to cancel everything I've got that afternoon, and we'll extend the in-person meeting starting at 2. And because that way I actually think we're going to be considerably done by that point, but just in case not, we've got 4.5 hours to keep going. And if we need to, look,
Great.
I still have 2 more days. Wait, let me see. Ooh, look, I got Friday and Saturday. We can
Okay.
add on it at that time if we need to.
So on the 14th, starting at 2 is the idea?
Starting at 2,
Excellent.
be there, be square.
Okay. Well, thank you,
Is this a
Maria.
pack your own lunch deal, or will there be something?
I am not feeding you. I have a 0 budget.
Well,
I got an actual formal spanking from the auditor's office because I bought license plate holders. So I'm on restriction as far as budget goes.
Thank you for those license plate holders.
I love the license plate holders. I was willing to yeah, I that was a hill I picked to die on. So
I still have the box. I have a question for Chris. It's Darlene. Do you think that the council would be able to cover some food?
I was just thinking that we don't really have a meeting between now and then when we can get it passed.
Oh,
It's not in
that's
our
true.
budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
So bring your own.
So let's
we can
go
talk about
over.
it.
Let's just, I'll let y'all handle that. I could probably swing. I can bring a box of Cliff Bars or something from home. We are here today at this meeting. Our future meetings, the virtual ones, are Saturday the 2nd from 3 to 4:30. Wednesday the 6th from 3 to 4:30, Friday the 8th from 11 to 12:30 a.m., and then Thursday the 14th, extending our in-person meeting from 2 to 6:30.
Excellent.
Everybody have that? Did I miss anything? I think I've got them.
Yep, you got it.
So my step then is I send these updated things. Oh, actually, let me put those in green because that tells Ruby those are new. So she knows to work with the online team to make sure that we've got them all available as agendas, both on our Lake County 2050 page, as well as our boards and commissions on the county webpage. So that's, I'm handing that off to Ruby to do. And just so you know, the agendas never change for LAPAC meetings. We have 5 bullet pointed topics that are deliverables that we need to give to the core team to help us inform the updates over like what we're going to be doing after LAPAC season. And so that agenda, I've told Ruby that the only thing that's going to change on this agenda is the time, the date, the location, and the meeting link. So just know that's it. We've got 5 things to cover. It's always going to look the same on that agenda. It's never going to change. Because that's the whole job for every LAPAC.
And
All right.
those 5 items are somewhere, I'm sure.
I am going to pull it up for you.
Great.
I'm gonna hold myself accountable right now and go on the Lake County 2050 page and see if I can pull that agenda up.
That's right. I'm looking there too. I'm looking at the background documents.
Right? No pressure, moment of truth. See, I'm gonna go to events. Ooh, look, I think it was actually on that first page. But when I look on the calendar. That's just where I go. Where are we? October last week. Here's Cobb Mountain agenda. Please.
So we're on events.
Oh, look at that agenda. Well done, Ruby. All right, that's today's meeting and our agenda.
And okay, what am I?
Oh, let me enlarge it because it's really tiny.
Yeah.
All right, for all us over 20-year-old eyeballs,
Thank you.
here's our agenda.
So discussion topics, number 3.
Welcome and introductions, which I completely skipped. Roll call, LAPAC members, skip that too. Yeah, discussion topics. This is, we kind of did in the second meeting, general discussion, but this is our first topic, second community survey results.
Yeah.
We're not going in any order because the next 3 are pretty much what we're doing in person. So our next virtual topic is that last bullet point, policy additions and changes from the existing area plan.
Where is that again? I'm looking through all of my paperwork and I'm not finding that.
It is on the Lake County 2050 page.
Okay.
Here, let me do it again, just because I know I have.
And there's a link in the chat. Jessica.
There is a link in the chat.
Oh, good. Thank you. That was really good. So when you go on Lake County 2050, the upcoming meetings, which is right here, you can click on that because that's a link that should take you to the agenda. Or you can go down to the calendar under the events page. So there's a couple ways on that.
Oh, there it is. I see.
You want to see how we do it on the Lake County page?
I got it. Okay, local
County.
There it is. LAPAC.
Okay. Here's Lake County ca.gov. This is our County of Lake page. I go to the agendas and minutes. Then this is our agenda center for all the boards and commissions. So I scroll for a while down to L because we kept all of our LAPACs together. So here's local area plan Cobb Mountain. Crap, it's not here. Oh wait, yes it is. Look at there. There it is. October 30th. And in fact, November 14th in person is also there, but it should have the same agenda. So that's 2 different ways that the members of the community are able to access this agenda.
Great.
I thought she was sending them out to all of our LAPAC members, but what I think she may be able to do is what she should be. Okay, bye, Donna. What I think she should be doing is sending you all the Outlook invite with the link on it. That way it's on your calendar and handy and you don't have to go hunting through all your emails. So that's to make it convenient. And I don't think we figured out a way to attach an agenda to Microsoft Teams, similar to how we were able to do it in Zoom. But if we can figure that out, we will. All right. Is there anything else housekeeping wise that needs to get discussed now before we jump into our second survey? Oh dear, go ahead, Elliot.
Just, I don't.
Oh, you froze.
Chris has had his hand up since the beginning, so let's.
Oh,
pause
sorry.
that.
I'm sorry, Chris. Go right ahead. Because Elliot froze, so we'll get him back in a minute.
Yeah, I would like us to establish maybe some norms around the hand raising and making sure that we go in the order that people raise their hands, and just some ways to keep the meeting orderly. And I have a question for you, and that is if there's any way, I guess at this point it may be moot, but if there's any way for us to sign up for a notification, or if there's any sort of notification that can take process when minutes or notes are posted to either Lake County 2050 or the Lake County Boards and Commissions page that you just showed us. Can we get, I mean, because that way we wouldn't have to worry about whether or not Ruby's sending things out to all these various places, because it sounds a little difficult to manage. If we just had a sign up where we would get notification, does that exist?
Sort of. Ruby and I have similar, what we did was just set up email group lists. So for each LAPAC, it has all LAPAC rosters, and I've thrown in like regular public members also. And so I can definitely let Ruby know that whenever we do post an agenda or set something up, just to send out a LAPAC notification, just so you guys know. I think that's a reasonable request. And I also think it's reasonable to expect us to go in order of hands raised. So thank you. I was looking at two different screens and missed that one, but I think that that is a good way to proceed. Cool. All right. Hopefully we'll get Elliot back in a minute. How about we talk about that second community survey? I'm ready. Anybody else ready?
I just want to note
Jessica,
that Jessica's hand's been up for a while as well.
Yeah, my
Oh,
hand's
shoot.
I had to leave
Thank
for
you.
a second. My printer is not in the same room as my office, so I had to go take a quick fall walk and decompress for a minute and come back. Since we've got this time crunch and the succession of meetings and such that are much closer and a tight time frame for all of this, granted, looking at the agenda and it being the same and ongoing, and we're just going to like work through and check things off as we go, which I understand and get. My question is, can we have some sort of an update for each meeting coming up that's sent out? Because not everybody in the committee is here, and it'll be much more efficient use of time if there's something that's stated, yes, we went over these things, this next meeting, this is going to be our focus for the meeting. And then that way we're not backpedaling and having to, bring people in and update them as they're joining a meeting.
So that would look like kind of me taking notes to then post, right?
You
Which
could
I'm
take
already
notes.
doing. Yeah, I'm
Anyone
already
can take
doing it on
notes.
one thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to translate this tablet over into there. So let's figure that out. It could be really simple as this meeting topics covered for these. Next meeting, upcoming events, something like that.
Yeah, and then at that point in time, with that being sent out, that's that indicator saying, hey, the meeting recording minutes, whatever was already posted on the website, you could go back and check that, bring yourself up to speed before the next meeting, so that everybody's prepared for what's on the table and the agenda for that next meeting.
So yeah, I think that's fair. However, what we have been doing in real time is just like I've been trying. My original goal was to be able to publish notes from each meeting. I haven't been able to do that due to the extra time it would take after each meeting for me to get that done. But what we have been doing is posting the video to YouTube and then linking that. And so that way people can go back and just sort of kind of spin through it. I think that that's probably going to be the best I can do right now, just given the lack of staff resources that are assigned to this project. And so we will continue to do that. That is not a step after the meeting. Sam Houston, you know, the guy who does audio visual for our board and PC. Well, he's the one who then streams it up to YouTube and then lets us know when it's done, but it's on whenever he has time because he's not a full-time county employee. So, what I could do is when he sends me that email, I'll just forward you guys so you have just that awareness of when it's up and available. I can
Okay.
do that. That's a quick and easy fix.
Yeah,
Will
that would be,
work? Okay. Excellent. Okay. Survey. And just so you know, for the in-person meeting, I have the large table size maps that we used at the all LAPAC in-person meeting that has the entire planning area boundary. But what I've been doing today, and I'll continue doing for all the LAPACs to prep, is tabloid size, the 11 by 17. Size, focusing on community growth boundaries, land use designations, and, oh, I think I already told you that, huh? Water districts. All right, so that'll be available when we meet in person too. Second community survey. Here we go. Why don't I pull that up on the screen too? Is there anybody that could use it if it's up on the screen, or do y'all have a copy?
Are you looking at the map, or what was your question on what do you?
I am now looking at the second community survey results.
Got it.
Does
There's some
everybody
pretty
have
wordy
that
ones
in
in
front
there.
of them?
I do.
You do? Anybody need it? Because I'll pull it up on the screen.
it'd probably be good to just pull it up anyway.
Okey-doke. Yes. Cobb Mountain, second survey results summary. All right. Part one, tell us about yourself. Across the board, in all planning areas, the majority of people I have found in Lake County that actually take surveys are white people 50 years and above. So I was kind of excited in Cobb. We did get some of that 35 to 50. That's really helpful. The only other place I saw that was Rivieras. Or was it Shoreline? There's like one other LAPAC. So what that tells me, or tells the department as far as what we're working on, is that the stakeholder meeting that we had held that was all in Spanish was very helpful because we need to diversify our outreach. And so we will continue to do so. Some ideas that I've gathered from other planning areas is to maybe reach out to the school districts once we have draft local area plans because we're going to produce a kind of like a highlights sheet of the local area plan and general plan update items, both in English and Spanish, and maybe start pushing those out to the schools, to the civic classes, maybe seniors, juniors, and see if they have any input too. Because it would be ideal to get the people who hopefully are living in Lake County over the next 20 years to actually have input in the community visioning process. But if you have any other ideas on ways that we can diversify our access, I am totally open and welcome to them. We're going to skip part 2. That's local area plan boundary, community growth boundary, and land use map changes because we're doing that in person on the 14th.
Okay.
Part 3, other land use changes. Question 7 about mixed use development came in because we are looking ahead past this Lake County 2050 to when we get to update our housing element, which is coming probably in 2026. And by that point, we will have gotten the regional housing needs assessment numbers, our RHNA numbers from the state that talks about how many dwelling units our jurisdiction or our county properties have to be able to accommodate over the next 6-year period, which is the life cycle of a housing element. the numbers I'm expecting to be very robust. And as a result of that, we're looking starting now on ways that we can increase the amount of residential development opportunities or options. And so adding mixed use, which is allowing for residential use coupled with commercial use. So this would be in our local and community commercial areas. That would be something that we have not actually allowed in the past. And so it could be very helpful. And that's why I requested that this question be put on the survey to see what the community thought about it. We've had very strong yes support. The only concerns that I've heard so far are we don't really want to look like the Bay Area where you see those couple hundred or, large multi-family developments over on top of commercial. We're not looking that large scale. We're not thinking that large scale because in Lake County, one of our top assets to preserve is our small town character. So what we're sort of thinking of is an apartment or two over a pizza place or behind a supermarket or something like that, sort of like accessory commercial uses. The next question was about diversification of agricultural uses. This came about because in the last few years, most recently, the winery industry is looking for diversification of uses of their grape products. And also, the state laws have changed recently to allow for microbreweries to co-locate with wineries. Wineries are also looking for possibly distilling their grape alcohol into a distilled liquor for other manufacturing processes. And so that's why this question was posed before the community to assess the receptivity. And all planning areas have had a very strong yes vote, open to diversification, but all planning areas also surprised me when it broke it out into what do we want to see. There's a really strong interest for youth agriculture and wilderness education. So that's really cool. I wasn't expecting that, but that's neat to find because we have projects, we have groups like Terra, the tribal Eco Restoration, what is that, Alliance, I think is the A, that is already looking for parcels around the county where they can do eco restoration projects with the goal of training people to be able to do it elsewhere. And so that's the wilderness education kind of, but this shows that there's a strong community support for additional ideas there to enhance wilderness education, as well as youth agriculture. A lot of the other LAPAC conversations have really stressed the strength that we have in our local school districts for youth ag. And so that has strong support. I want to draw your attention. The write-in answers are also usually really helpful and informative because people take time to actually flesh out some of these details. So that's quite a novel. Not usually that long, but there's really good ideas in these, like the biogas and the aquaculture and the different ways that we're looking to reuse, recycle. Our environment isn't really the right term, but to coexist more sustainably in the environment. I would love to know what y'all feel. What does the on either one, mixed use or ag diversification, if there's what input this LAPAC has for that?
What's your question?
So let's go back to the mixed use. I know that Cobb Mountain in particular has like the rural, small town, forested kind of community size. What is your sense as far as integrating mixed use, which would be residential in our commercial zones? What's your sense of how that would affect our community here?
Well, I could see.
Who's raising hands? Who's number one? Elliot's one, and then we're going to go to Chris. And then Jessica.
First, I apologize for my computer. The program crashed when I tried to answer last time, so because probably exceeding my permissible volume here. I also, the reason I had my hand up, I'm sorry, is that I would like to know who Pamela is. We haven't really been introduced.
Oh, sure. Hey, Pamela. Let's do quick
Hi.
introductions.
I'm Pamela Coleman. I am a CERC team member with AmeriCorps and NCO. I've seen you at meetings before. Yeah.
Awesome.
So you're not part of you're not part of the LAPAC of our Cobb area LAPAC, or do you live in Cobb?
I actually do live on Cobb. I live on Loch Lomond Road.
Great.
Neato. And AmeriCorps, you'll remember our AmeriCorps teams in our past in-person meetings. Right now, Pamela is helping me to sort of take notes on the meetings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just not.
So
not
while we're doing introductions, Maria Turner, Community Development Director. Go ahead, Jessica.
Am I introducing myself or am I?
You are. You're introducing yourself. I think
Jessica
pretty much
Lytle,
most people here are LAPAC members. So.
Okay. I'm a community member, educator, former Cobb Area Council member. The list goes on. At any rate, I'm an at-large member. Yes.
At large. Awesome. Darlene.
Yes, hi. I'm a council member of the Cobb Area Council and the secretary of the board on the Cobb Area Council.
Cool. Thanks. Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris Nettles. I am a community psychologist, which means I am more interested in the community level behavioral stuff, sort of where psychology meets public health, and do all things really community. That's my primary motivation. So I'm on the Cobb Area Council. I do a lot of nonprofit work, and happy to be a member of this LAPAC.
Cool.
And let me know when you're ready for comments.
We're going to go right back to that as soon as we finish introductions.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Paul.
Paul Duncan, Operations Chief for the Sonoma Lake Napa Unit of CAL FIRE, local Cobb resident, and proud member of the GPAC also.
Super duper. And Elliot, if your hand was raised only for the introductions, then go ahead and put it down so that I know who's left. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Shaver, resident of Cobb, Gifford area, Cobb area member, planning member here. Environmental background, Masters of Science in Aquatic Ecology, and I've worked with tribes in the Clear Lake region for the last 20 years. And I have Powder Valley Tribe I'm working with now, but not representing on this committee, but haven't changed my little name, but yes.
Coolness.
Thank you.
All right. And I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Hand raised number 3, R2 and Company LLC. Go ahead.
There we go. Unmuted. Hi, my name is Robert Thomas, and local resident here on Cobb Mountain since 2011, and also company business owner up here, and quite a bit of experience getting more involved in the forest management and also biomass and feedstock processing utilization, and looking forward. I do have that question as well, Maria.
Okay, keep your hand raised. We're on that. Elliot, go ahead and introduce yourself, then we're jumping back into the survey.
Okay. Elliot Hurwitz, former member of the Cobb Area Council and local rabble rouser.
Ha. But we love you anyway. All right, back into the survey. Go ahead, Chris. Question, hands raised.
Yeah, just really probably reinforcing much of what you said. I clearly see strong support for transitioning from single-use zoning to more mixed-use designations that, and some of the comments that I read really point not only to the uses that you say, but small-scale commercial and light industrial uses that are consistent with sort of a neighborhood feel. And some of what I heard is that, or see in this, is that the mixed-use developments not only are a way to address housing and ecological issues, sort of low carbon footprint types of activities, but also walkable, community-oriented neighborhoods that reduce car dependency and enhance local resilience. So I think there's a lot of support for this, and I think there's and I'm wondering the other thing that I'll kind of put a pin in is how this relates to some of the changes in climate-related zoning that the state has been pushing for. Zoning changes that are related to climate change that I think they've made some designations, potential designations for us to use. I can't remember the specifics on that, but I think Elliot, you might have put out a note about that. So I just want to put a plug in for that and make sure that we're attending to that, because I hear that pretty loud and clear in the results. I'll stop and yield the rest to whoever's next.
Good. Okay, who's two? Go ahead, Jessica. Thanks, Chris. That was good.
Chris said a lot of the same things that I was going to bring up. One of the things future forward that I have heard in a lot of discussions has much to do with our geographic nature of Cobb area and how it's a bit different being mountainous and small little pockets of villages and such, within this whole area. That came out of the resort era and just by nature the way it was developed years ago and such. With mixed use, having it make sense for those areas, having it make sense for the geographic nature of the areas, and then working at trying to interconnect them a little bit better. However that might look, better walking trails, better biking access, anything. Already our roads and such are there. They're not in the best shape necessarily. But allowing for more access between those, different communities to better interconnect them. And then potentially, hopefully longer term, looking at some efficiency in the way that we do that. So it doesn't impact the area any further with growth wherever it comes up.
Good. Good. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, there we go. My question, or maybe just comment you had asked about, doing like a multi-type zoning and outlay for the county. And I guess up here, just a small amount of background for myself. So we moved here in 2011 and, we experienced life here before the Valley Fire, and we experienced a lot of how it was then. Myself, I had completed 2 tours in Ann Arbor, Providence through the Marines. And so I came here on a vacation for a minute and since this quiet place.
I think we lost you, Robert. I don't know what on hold means. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you back?
You there?
Yeah.
My mom's trying to call at the same time. Okay, so served those tours, got here before the fire. Here we are. Went through all that, and then experienced life after the fire and how people would move out, different things would come in. The layout changed as things were being rebuilt, and I guess kind of woke up and woke out into what we know as the new Cobb Mountain, and there was just a lot of work to do, post-fire cleanup, and forest management became this thing for me. And so I guess where I'm going with that is, in the last couple of years, we spent a lot of time up here, and we spent a lot of time transporting a lot of this biomass. And so I went to an expo over in the Hopland maybe 4 months ago. They specifically were saying, trying to get biomass processed as close to where you're bringing it out of as you can to limit the amount of resources it takes to transport it. And so my passion just lit up. I automatically just wanted to try and do more with the resources. And to this day, even right now, I mean, we have made quite a bit of movement towards trying to make that difference. And so I would say when it comes to, commercial and things like that, it should probably be looked at, because the requirements and I guess how the mountain works are a little bit different than maybe in the resort time that it was, right? So, you know, maybe we should be introducing that type of thing. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Next one, Elliot. Also, I need to step away for a minute, but our meeting is recording and I want to capture your input. So feel free to go ahead. Our subjects are mixed use and ag diversification, and I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Okay, this particularly addressing the issue about mixed use in local commercial areas. I think that we can make use of, I know that the addressing people's anxiety about the, huge apartment buildings, et cetera. We can identify design-based codes that are specific to particular areas. I think that the vision that we have is more fourplex, sixplex, eightplexes that can integrate nicely with single-family areas and our kind of small-scale commercial. Just, Maria will know this, but for the rest of the committee, I've also kind of submitted an idea for a new zoning designation, which we're calling a rural hamlet, which is looking to take our currently existing kind of walkable subdivision areas and allowing small-scale walkable neighborhood serving commercial in that, whether it's kind of local commissaries or local serving, neighborhood serving community commercial. So I'm done. I think you're on, Jessica.
Okay, so I think following up from before as well, looking at our mixed use with regards to ongoing fire recovery efforts and making sure that that is a long-term goal wherever that fits in, because this is, something that we'll be dealing with for decades to come. And just making sure that that is noted in there and considered. We often, for those of us who've lived up here pre-fire and post-fire, we just assume that's going to happen. But making sure that it's actually written in as something that is part of the plan, future forward, because as we know, it takes quite a bit of time for forests to come back. With climate change happening as well, there are a lot of little unknowns that are going to pop up in terms of time frame or how it might come back, those types of things. And if it's written in, then that's a commitment to it. So I would, I just wanted to kind of add in on that as well. And then also to what Elliot was saying about looking at things as far as designation, like the hamlet idea is fantastic. That can be something that could potentially help with networking in the different geographic settlement locations of this area as well. And, making certain that any sort of mixed use in the future makes sense for this area, not just geographically, but for who we are as a community. Obviously, high density housing is not a fit. I don't see it as being a fit at any point in time in the future, to be completely honest, because of our resource needs and the geographic nature of the area, and making sure that those are explicitly stated in that as well. So.
Good. Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I just want to throw in a little bit of support for what Jessica's pointing out, because when I looked at the survey, sort of the number one thing that popped out to me, the very top of the list that seems to push through and just about the answers to all of these questions is a community priority for wildfire safety and evacuation planning. And for our area, I think that needs to be woven through the entire plan, that we understand that we need things up here that allow us to address our long-term safety. And when I say wildfire safety, I wonder sometimes if we need to think, more in terms of living with rather than suppressing wildfire, because we know that the wildfire suppression regime has not worked out well for California and for us.
Good.
So that points to some of what Robert was saying in terms of having light industry here in the area that helps us process biomass and really have an orientation as Cobb towards our forest care, and that weaves in with wildfire safety and evacuation.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you. Mike?
I guess I just make a comment regarding question 7 and the mixed use development. I would believe I'm in support of it. I'm not sure if this would cover it, but I think in today's era, a lot of people are doing cottage industries or things from home. I know a person in my neighborhood that's doing grooming, dog grooming from the back, or will do taxes. But I don't know if that's required to have mixed use, but I think we might be able to get some people out of the woodwork that are doing commercial activities in residential areas unofficially, maybe pull them into the real business permitting process and maybe promote that light use of the residential area.
Good thought. Yeah, currently we do have home occupation, which is a zoning permit, but there are some restrictions on what types of businesses you can operate at your house, as well as with the idea of retaining the residential character of a neighborhood. So limiting the number of customers that can come, so that you're not having constant traffic and stuff like that. So yeah, that's an interesting thought. Good. Go ahead, Jessica.
Something else that I thought about after Chris was reiterating and discussing further about fire safety in this area is looking back at the 1989 Cobb Area Plan. There was a very large percentage of it that had to do with our geothermal industry in this area. And, Calpine's still here, and it is still a very large industry in this area that we are directly affected by. We are also a seismically active area. So, ensuring that we're considering and keeping that in mind throughout with Future Forward with our plan, and then looking at, how we're having to look at what that industry is in the future. The wells only have a certain lifetime, and so they're having to do reinjection operations. How does that look as far as, our idea and understanding of the plan? They did not have reinjection operations going on in the 1989 last plan to consider into it, but that is something for us to, keep in mind as well.
Thanks, Paul. See ya. Thank you, Jessica. Go ahead, Elliot.
Again, just picking up on this issue of fire resilience altogether. Maria, I'd like to understand if there's a way, as you probably know, we are also just launching the development of a Cobb area CWPP that we'll be going through. We're basically going to take another couple of years to work through that. And a lot of the issues around fire resilience, obviously that's going to be the main focus of it. How can we most dynamically link the area plan to the kind of ongoing consideration and revision process that we will be kind of considering during the CWPP?
Great question. So the local area plan is the community's opportunity to voice priorities, as well as list objectives, and then kind of like the implementation steps that kind of gives the government a to-do list for the next planning period. Where the way I would see it reflected would be that the ongoing wildfire mitigation planning, or specifically the CWPP and its future revisions, be included in this local area plan as a priority to remain consistent with, or to synchronize with, or to update as things get updated, or how whatever the priority ends up being. Let's make sure we capture that in the Cobb Mountain local area plan as an ongoing priority.
So that this would be a way to give the our priorities and objectives the capacity to evolve as we take the time to really dig into the fire resilience issues ongoing.
I think so. And I don't know that we should just limit it to the Cobb area, because I think that the community specific planning things that go on at Cobb are really good templates for what could benefit the county in other areas. And so that may be a priority then that doesn't just get limited to the Lake County, right? No, to the Cobb Mountain local area plan, but actually could get into more of the county-wide elements. So wherever is appropriate.
Mm-hmm. So some kind of language that would, give the general plan objectives and priorities the capacity to evolve as these other plans evolve and bring
right and signify community support for similar projects in other communities. I know that we've talked over the last year or two about the things that are going on in Cobb Mountain and how we could roll them out in different communities to the benefit of those communities as well. Yeah. So maybe this is a good way. I think that using the area plans and the general plan update as a way to establish that as a priority is a smart idea, because then in the future, when we're looking for grant funds to be able to do these things that we want to do, we've got it established as a community priority in the plan.
Great. Good.
Yeah. Good. Go ahead, Chris.
I have some questions about one of the fairly major zoning designations that I see around Cobb, and some of the resource protection types of things like the TPZ, which is I think the timber preserve zoning, and how much input we have on what that means. Like, and this sort of ties also into the agricultural mixed use, where we weave into things like the TPZ zone, a need for landowners there to have some sort of fire protection plan, avoiding monocrop types of things in agriculture, the meaning of what the waterway designations in some of the zoning areas mean. I think a lot of those light teal areas are public lands, but they're also TPZ. Several TPZ ones floating around as well. But so I'm just wondering how much we can do with those resource protection designations to weave in some of these ideas of fire protection and ecological protection.
Okay. We don't. So LAPACs are working on general plan land use designations, which is why you see the teal here instead of the hash marked TPZ. TPZ is a zoning map thing, but you see the resource conservation is the general plan thing. What we could do is if we want to affect regulations in the zoning map or the zoning districts, what we want to do then is beef it up in the general plan, saying that it is a priority that the areas within the resource conservation general plan land use designation take a look at diversification of agriculture or wildfire mitigations or things like that, because we would need that as a first step to create a nexus from which, when we work on the zoning map update or the zoning regulations, which actually comes later after Lake County 2050 is done, that's when we would look at completing one of the implementation tasks that's in our general plan update as it interprets to the zoning district, the zoning code update.
Fantastic. So can we put a pin in that and make sure that we continue to discuss that as
yeah, in fact, I want you to remember that one when we meet in person, because let's get that captured on a Post-it note and formalized, because I didn't write it down on this note, but when we're in person, let's talk about that, because we'll have this map looking at us, and that's a good time to capture that one.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Good stuff. All right, let's go back to the survey. Well, I think we definitely chewed the heck out of those two questions. We'll keep going. Would you like to see more local serving commercial development in Cobb Mountain? This question, let me enlarge that, sorry. There we go. cafes, laundromats, hair salons. So what this is asking is, does Cobb Mountain want to see additional land use designations for local and community commercial? We had a lot of people say, yeah. And here's some of our write-ins. Food. Ooh, I like the gymnasium. That's cool. Restaurants, medical services. This actually is going to get reinforced at a later question in our survey too. Laundromats, places to shop, things for kids to do. What does the LAPAC think about this? First of all, do you agree with the, yes, we want to see more commercial uses or commercial zone properties? And if so, what kind? What kind of stuff do you want to see? Go ahead, Mike.
I think they all look like good stuff, good suggestions, but I'm concerned about the customer base. I think we have a couple businesses in the heart of Cobb that haven't really got the restaurants that haven't really got going again. So I think these are all great suggestions. Just concerned if there's enough population until we replace some of the homes after the Valley Fire before we really can support them. Yes, I think they're all good ideas.
Who else? Anybody else on that one? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think this sort of ties in with much of the mixed use discussion that we've been having. What I really see and hear in a lot of this are people want to live, work, play, shop in their neighborhoods and not have to get in their car and go places. And I think that also, I mean, I see sort of a deeply linked philosophy that's beginning to emerge out of these results, including what Jessica was saying about having trails that connect these villages and hamlets. And so I think what we're seeing a shift towards in this Lake County 2050 set of ideas and philosophies are not having to commute 30 and 40 miles to go to work or to go to a restaurant. And sometimes that may mean that, we're not going to be able to support a whole bunch of Applebee's and box type commercial restaurant activities, but maybe something, and I put this in the meeting chat. I hope the meeting chat is also captured in the notes. But I just noticed, and I didn't dig into it very much, but Sonoma County just passed some ordinance that was allowed at the state level as well for home restaurants. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what the regulations around that might entail, but small scale businesses that serve the neighborhood like that and don't require a huge amount of population, to Mike's point, might be a better way to address this live, work, play, shop in your own neighborhood.
Good. Elliot.
Just kind of piggybacking on Chris, what you've said, and also Mike, I think your point about really a lot of the necessity that's going to make a lot of this possible is bringing back the base population level in the area altogether. And I think one of the issues, I was looking to see where it's covered in the survey. I'm sure it is somewhere, Maria, but a key empowerment for this, and this is obviously an issue for the whole county, is broadband. I mean, the more that we can actually ensure high quality broadband, cognizant of all the challenges that faces, that's a key kind of infrastructure issue for us here that will enable people to establish homes and give people the ability to live in the kind of localized communities that we're envisioning. Yeah,
I think broadband's like in the 20s, question number 20 something. We will get to that. Go ahead, Jessica.
Just as a follow-up on that as well, broadband in general, having that connectivity, people wanting to move to this area and let's say work from home, either part-time, full-time, whatnot, because of our geographic location, it is harder to ensure good, consistent, affordable broadband. And that keeps a lot of people from moving into this area and or bringing their small business, home-based business, whatever you may be considering that into this area as well. But to add on to that, even more importantly, with our phone service in this area, with the understanding that AT&T is trying to pull away from landline in this area, and cell service being what it is, which is oftentimes inconsistent, or we do have some dead zones because of the mountainous region. Ensuring that there are more tower repeaters, so that, for just health and safety in general, but also looking forward to knowing that AT&T is planning on moving out their landline, and then for those wanting to have business in this area or do a home business or whatnot, they need connectivity, whether it be broadband or telephone service. Ensuring that those services are available consistently and available in a way that people can do business. So yeah, just to follow up and add on.
Good. So that sounds like we can segue then into question 10 of commercial development. What do y'all feel about resort development? It looks like that's a really resounding no, but it's only 35 no's and 31 yeses. So it's actually a lot closer than it looks. Interesting. So here's some that's consistent with our ongoing conversation: small resorts or B&Bs. I know we want Hobergs. I want Hobergs back bad. What do y'all think about resort development? Go ahead, Chris.
Let me look at my notes here because I have specific notes on this. So I said, yeah. So yeah, I think it's clear that there's sort of mixed views on tourism and resort development, kind of even. But I did see support for some resort development, and it looks like people are just cautious about large-scale developments, and I think that's really the point to take from this. Is there's resistance to developments that disrupt the community character or strain the resources that we've got here. So I think we should consider very carefully scaled projects that align with the rural setting here. And I'm perfectly happy to share this place with other people, but I think it needs to be done. We don't want to become another Tahoe or Napa.
Right. Right. No, I see that as a consistent theme so far in everything that we're talking about as far as future development. Is we really want to protect our mountain community in Cobb. That's just an asset to the entire community, and it's worth protecting. All right. Anything else on resort development? Go ahead, Elliot.
Yeah, there was. I got into quite a conversation about there was a development that was being proposed for Howard Hot Springs a couple of years ago. That they had some Japanese high-end Japanese spa investors coming in, and of course I think they even went as far as a preliminary development conference with the department. Maria had some design concepts, and one of the things that we really wanted to push for them was, if you were going to redevelop this significant property, we wanted to be able to ensure local access, as well as we also talked with them about local workforce housing. And so I think that to the degree that we can at this point in the kind of developing the general plan process, are there ways in which we can in terms of how we allow resort development to go forward, to bake in certain level of minimum local access and local workforce housing.
We should list it as a priority in this area plan.
Yep.
That's a tough nexus to establish, especially since, you know, we don't have lines of developers banging down our doors really wanting to. And so that's when you can really say, okay, sure, you're welcome to develop here, but this is what we want. You know, we don't quite have that leverage due to pressure yet. So, but doesn't mean we can't put it in there as a priority. So yeah,
and that would be obviously something, because what we were saying, well, you know, you want to get the local community to come and really be happy with you at the planning commission. You know, this is what we want, and you don't want to have us, you know, being angry about it. This is what we'd like. But obviously it would be more, the community would be able to feel more supported if in the plan there's, well, you know, it's listed as a priority for us. So yes, we'd like to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, Maha has workforce housing as part of their project. Go ahead, Jessica.
Just adding on to that as well, you know, looking at developments like this as being beneficial to the community, not putting strains on our community, and looking at it from, you know, an overall perspective, not just like resources based, but also housing based, accessibility, all of those things. So, you know, stating, hey, you know, it looks like it might be a good fit for our mountain rural community to have such a development. Let's look at it specifically in terms of, what are your needs? Is it going to put a strain on our resources? And if so, what are you going to do to help benefit, you know, and at what level do we just say it's too much of a strain? Those types of things. And I know a lot of times that'll go through the whole process of, you know, any sort of development through that initial planning phase and such, but also having something in our plan that is stating that, you know, development like such is not going to put a strain on our community, you know, not just looking at environmental impact reports, but looking at our community as a whole.
Okay, good. Thanks, Chris.
One other thing that I just want to weigh in on about what Elliot is talking about is that we really
Chris, your volume is dropped way back.
Oh, has it? Let me.
There you go.
Yeah, let me pull up this microphone here. Thank you for telling me. One of the things that I want to sort of tag on what Elliot was saying is that what we're planning for is Lake County 2050, not Lake County 2025. And Lake County 2050, to me, when I look at, in my little crystal ball, I see enormous pressures for decarbonization, less driving, and things that keep people a little closer to where they live, which means people driving from San Francisco to Tahoe looks a little less sustainable than maybe a couple of hour drive up to Lake County. So I think we may see some pressure and shift over the next 25 years for resort types of things closer to urban areas. And I think we need to be ready for that.
Yes, I would love for that to happen.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, so just quick time check. We got about 5 more minutes. Let's tackle question 11 and then see if we have any time after that. I'd actually like to use the last couple of minutes just as a recap on any upcoming meetings or anything, any closing details. So question 11, would you like more industrial uses? Oh, where's Robert? Robert Thomas, get back in here. This is yours. Such as biomass facilities, manufacturing facilities. Now this actually is a resounding no. But I think that's where this LAPAC can serve as like a, okay, no, but. So maybe not, you know, the big old like warehouses, like maybe not an Amazon distribution center, but this is where that nuance I think that we've been talking about so far could also come into play. Go ahead, Jessica.
I agree with you. I think that nuance is something that needs to be explicitly stated somehow. for an understanding of, what is our, I don't know, capacity for something like that, or our idea, future forward for that, but just making sure that that's somehow stated in there. I think with certain industry, it obviously makes a lot more sense than others. For instance, something like biomass, we have an issue right now on this mountain, recovery from the fires. We need to address that. And any sort of industry in a light way that can help to address that and for the betterment of our community obviously would make sense along those lines. Something new coming in, though, that would have to be looked at and, factored into what that nuance is. So that would be, I think, something many people I've talked to, they're struggling to come up with what that phrase is or how they would describe that. It's not that they don't want any sort of light industry coming in. It's at what level and how is it going to impact our community and our resources and our people.
Like it complements the community rather than negatively
quality
impacting
of life. Yeah, not a negative impact, but a positive impact. And as you know, any sort of light industry, when they do come in, let's also not give them carte blanche. Which has happened in the past because we are desperate oftentimes for industry to come in. Let's say, you have to in some way benefit the community by helping with some infrastructure need if you're going to do something at such a scale and hold them to it. This county has had issues in the past. I'm not going to mention specifics, but we tend to really need industry up here. We tend to need people that have this outside ability to bring in capital and money and create something up here. And oftentimes, too readily, we've just allowed that without much discretion, or not enough, I should say. So
good. All right, we got Robert back. Hold on, Robert. We're going to go to Chris, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay. I think Jessica's exactly right. And the one thing that I may want to sort of reframe just a bit is that with light industry, instead of looking for ways to bring them in, or using the they/them outsider sets of ideas, how do we develop the capacity for this sort of light industry right here with a we, us, ours framework? So that because I think it's the lots of capital coming in from outside to extract from Cobb that gets people's hackles up, right? But if it's something that serves the community, and again, I'm going to keep coming back to this philosophical ideas of live, work, play, shop right here. And to the extent that having jobs like this here support the local community in being able to maintain this lifestyle and serve the community, I think that's what we're looking for.
Good. Robert, thank you. That was good.
Yeah. Well, I was just expanding on that, really. It's funny, back when transportation was just coming out, everyone wanted to get everywhere, the 80s, going to the moon, things like that, NASA program. But at the same time, now it's kind of being a little bit more refined, where maybe it's okay just to kind of be where we're at. And so that being said, I feel like sustainability is a good focal point for the community. So what makes us sustainable? What creates ways that we can produce what we need to move forward here without the need for so much outside? And I think we're doing that, but at the same time, like one example, our team has been up here working in Adams Springs, processing this yard, and we became a firewood bank through the Alliance for Green Heat and Forestry Service. We got a grant, and so we're getting ready to donate 40, 50 cords of wood to people in need for the season while we're waiting. I've been working so hard to try and get a machine up here, and all the machines have gone to the East Coast to help with hurricane cleanup. So where I'm going with this is that if we look at it in a more worldly outlook, everyone, when it comes to like climate resiliency, I'm using that term kind of in lax, but like how it's not about how, you know, it's more about how we're going to take what comes and move through it without being so traumatized. You know, that we get used to how we're going to be resilient when things do happen. And so being more set up for that is probably a bonus. So I guess I was using that example as it's been a struggle to try and get something here. But if we had more of a plan and created strategy, that we just have these things implemented. Obviously I circulate around that subject a lot just because that's where my passion is at. So circling around, that's generally what I would try and say about sustainable living and where we're at, so we don't have the need to reach out quite as far. It's nice to go places, but it's nice to just be here.
Thank you. Elliot.
Okay, just briefly, I want to put a pin in one of the other major resource nexi we have here on Cobb Mountain, which is mountain biking. The fact that we have in the past been a major mountain biking destination. I could fantasize about if we could attract some kind of mountain bike associated industry, whether it's a gear manufacturer or something like that, that would want to be identified with Cobb Mountain. I think that's the kind of synergy that I would be really supportive of.
Cool. Jessica.
I can't believe you just said that, Elliot. That's so perfect. That makes so much sense. I mean, we're looking at who we are as a community, what we already have attractions of and to, and then utilizing that future forward. The key is sustainability, but also looking at these companies and suggesting to them that, you know, the model that we would like for business up here is much more of a circular economy model. And that meaning that, you know, sustainability is there, resiliency is there out of necessity, but making sure that that model of production and consumption are aiming at reducing waste and extending the life of the product, materials, and the community within that area that business is being done.
It's good. All right. We got through question 11. I think we have like 28, 29 questions total. So this was good. Good start. Let me take that down. I'll stop sharing. Close all that stuff. Okay. So your homework, if you haven't yet, please review the remaining questions for the second survey, because our next virtual meeting, we're going to pick up where we left off. And keep going through. And I'm trying to be very cognizant of not rushing you, because I think that the input that you are giving, this dialogue that we're having, is really helpful and is good stuff, because it flavors the work that we're gonna do when we're drafting the document. So we'll keep going. Our next meeting Saturday, 3 to 4:30, virtual. Be there or be square. What else do I have for you? I think that is it. I'm going to keep working on developing those small maps, and I'll send them to you once I've got Cobb Mountains done, just so you can have them on hand in case you want to do any pre-thinking before our meeting on the 14th. Anything else?
I have one quick question for you.
Yeah.
Given what you've heard from us today, what are you walking away from this meeting with? Maria?
Yeah, I think there have been some strong themes. You guys all seem to be pretty unified on circular economy, sustainability, going forward and looking at innovations in the future and being ready to pivot to accommodate those innovations, so long as they are complementary to like our wildfire mitigation technologies or our what we haven't gotten to yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear it when we do, is water sustainability and, you know, power and connections, connectivity, broadband. That's already come up already, but yeah, it's exactly what I was expecting from Cobb community. The Cobb Mountain community is not a bunch of NIMBYs. It's more of a selectivity kind of attitude. You know, we want stuff to come in, but we want to make sure that it's a benefit and not a detriment to the community, which I think is fully reasonable and should be respected. So that's what I got.
Well stated. Thank you.
Pleasure. All right. Anything else for the good of the group? If not, I think we're adjourning for today, and I'll see y'all on Saturday.
Elliot, I see your hand up. Do you want to?
Oh, sorry, Elliot.
I just wanted to thank you, Maria, for you know, your skillful navigation of this meeting altogether, and your openness and responsiveness to everything that we all read. We really appreciate it, and we really do look to you for help in taking what are our kind of philosophical and emotional attachments and really trying to figure out how do we actually push the envelope in terms of what's technically and legally possible, and not take, you know, business as usual as our default. We really want to explore what is possible to do, and you know, because we love this place, and
yeah,
we know that you feel that too. So we thank you very much for this. Really.
Thanks, Elliot. Cool. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you on Saturday.
Great.
Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Good to see everyone. Bye-bye.